Hello everyone, my name is Alberto. Welcome back to my channel. Like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Starting back from when we left off, I picked this beautiful Japanese printed cotton that I got many years ago in Tokyo, because after I said that we should try everything out on cheap fabric, I did it. So I'm using actually my first sort of pottery experiments as weights, because they're not that good and they weigh a lot. I'm just cutting out my pieces. In this case, I have a pattern, so you can use this basically both ways. I chose to keep it this way up, but you could do some interesting things like having a different direction in the pattern on the different pieces to get some sort of visual interest. Because it is a woven cotton, so it wouldn't really matter that much. I'm just gonna start out by cutting all my different pieces, cutting my panels. This fabric is not wide enough, so I need to cut strips. Since it's, again, woven cotton, just snip it and like rip apart the pieces. You will get quite a clean, straight rip. It's one of the things about woven fabrics, especially cotton, that's really nice. I'm gonna place them all in the same direction. I chose to do very simple design, let's say. Again, gonna cut my panels. Nothing much to say about this, it's pretty simple and straightforward. I did decide to go for more of an experiment instead of just simply sewing what I had, so I decided to make some pockets. As you can see, you can choose to sort of alternate the pattern, kind of like in men's shirts, to get an interesting visual alternative. I went with the same way, so sort of more to camouflage my pockets, and I'm cutting some big pockets to put on the side panels, just eyeballing it, because I'm just gonna make some very simple square pockets, no fancy shapes or any of the sort. So as you can see, I just cut 2 squares. I also decided to put a central panel, a central pocket on the front panel, with a pointy bottom, kind of like a denim pocket. Again, very simple. I'm just gonna sort of measure out how much fabric I would need in my scraps and just cut a piece, and as you can see, it seems fine. So moving on, I also decided to try this these sort of metal loops that I had around the house. So I took this woven cotton band, the one I showed you in the last video. I just cut out just a piece, haven't really measured it, because I want to attach those at the sides, and then this thin cotton band to use as our straps to attach at the top. In hindsight, this was too much of a size difference. You'll see in the end it will be corrected. This is why I said to try on like a cheap fabric first. But it's fine, it can be fixed. So we have all our pieces here, all our pockets, our strips of cotton, everything we need. So first of all, we're gonna move to the sewing machine. I'm gonna overlock almost everything. I'm doing the pockets first. Overlock on every single side, because it is a woven cotton, it does fray. Then I'm gonna first just press everything down nicely, and then starting by folding in 1 centimeter all around the sides of the pocket, and I'm gonna do a bit more at the top. I don't need to, you could do 1 centimeter all around. It just looks and feels nicer if the top hem, let's say, it's a bit deeper, gives it a bit more body. So that's nice. You could also double fold the top hem. I just prefer to keep this simple and thin because it's an apron again, but you could do that like in denim. So I'm gonna do the side pockets as well, same exact thing, 1 centimeter all around, and I'm just gonna do a bit more, like 2.5, even 3 centimeter at the top, just to give it a bit more body. And first I'm gonna fold the top hem and stitch it down. That way that's done, fixed, and in place. And then I'm gonna start placing my pockets on the different parts, starting with the center in this case. Just placing it, you can measure if you want and pin it in place. But this is quite a grippy fabric, so it doesn't really move. And then stitching all around. When I get to the end, I just basically reverse and double stitch it, using the foot of the sewing machine as a guide. This is pretty easy. It gives a good double stitched line that adds some extra strength. And I'm gonna do the same thing for the side. As you can see, all the sides have been pressed and folded the exact same way. We have our 3 centimeter hem at the bottom. So I'm just gonna place my pocket exactly as before, stitch it all around. I double stitched this one as well. It's not necessary, you could just do one. These are all sort of just aesthetic choices really. But yeah, so the pocket's attached. Now we can start stitching down the sides because they are free, they're not attached to anything else. So starting with the inside fold and then the outside one. In this case, I'm gonna attach the little loop thingy that I showed you before, but you could treat this exactly as if it was the waist strap. So you just leave 2 centimeter clearance at the top because that's where the top edge will fold. And then we're just gonna stitch down the other side. Basically, we're going to enclose this little loop, or again, it could be a strap. It's the same exact thing. It's just how it's sewn. So that way it's stitched down there, then we're gonna reverse it and back stitch it in a bit. Then we'll do the hem. And then we'll attach the two fronts together. As you can see, I also folded the top edge, the bottom edge, on the top part. I'm basically attaching it as shirt collar. So one of the sides will be folded in 1 centimeter, the larger side, which is the bottom. And then we're gonna stitch down first the sides, not the top. This is an easier way to give you a guide to attach the straps. So once the sides are folded and stitched, you can pass through your straps and you immediately have basically a stop because the sides are stitched down, so you know where to push it against. And then we'll just pin them in place and stitch the top closed. Then we're just going to snip the edges, and that's it. We can turn it, and as you can see, our straps are in place already. This obviously will need to be pressed, so it's nice and flat, but this goes for every single piece. And we can move on and place the two panels of the skirt apron. So we did place 2 notches, if you remember, in the pattern. I did fold the top as well because the part that's not gonna be stitched together with the top will be hemmed by itself. But I'm opening back the fold in order to stitch them together. And then just pin everything together, making sure that all the notches are matching, so our pieces are where they should be. And then we're gonna stitch everything in 1 centimeter, making sure we don't stitch on the other side of the top flap, which is the one we folded back 1 centimeter. So once that's done, we can hem the top, again making sure we don't stitch on the flap on top. That's quite important. So that's just basically a 1 centimeter overall strip that's stitched down. And then we can finally close the top. To do that, we're gonna fold it in on itself. And the folded part from before will just basically cover the seam nicely, so it's gonna look super clean. And we'll just edge stitch that on. Once that is done, we can also edge stitch the whole top part. This will give it a bit of extra strength, will keep it neater, will keep it from buckling up and looking sort of untidy. Then we can move on to stitch down our straps, just folding them to the outside. That way they look nice and close. And this is the final product. I have some things that I want to change, but I am overall pretty happy with it. You can see the top straps are quite thin, they just look wrong, but that's an easy fix. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So we have our side pockets, we have our front pockets, everything's looking nice. So yeah, in the next video I'll show you what I would change and how, which is gonna be interesting, hopefully, thing to see. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you appreciated the video and it was useful for you. Put a like to the video if you did and subscribe. It's a great help. Have a great day. Bye.